Hello, this is Sergeant Nichols, coming to you today from the front lines of writing. We have a tough foe to conquer today, the support paragraph. I'm not going to lie to you, this ain't going to be easy. This paragraph has 8, count them, 8 sentences, and that's including quotes, internal citations, parenthetical references, source entries, the whole shebang. But troops, we're ready. We've been training for weeks for this, and we are armed with our outlines and our introductions already. We will write bravely, and we will come out on the other side with a strong, well-written support paragraph. So today, we begin writing the first support paragraph of the argumentative research paper. Do not begin writing the first support paragraph until I have approved your introduction paragraph, which I'll be working on all week. If you've been approved, however, watch this video carefully. I have specific requirements for this paragraph, and I will not accept paragraphs that do not fulfill those requirements. This is the meat of the essay. It's where you actually prove your thesis, your assertion. If you've gone through the process step by step with me, you have the outline, the structure of your paper already in place. And our job now is simply to hang the data that we collect on that skeleton. We will be doing research using an academic journal database, just like you'll be doing in college. So you will not be one of those kids you read about who get to college unprepared and have to take a remedial writing course. Perhaps even better, though. Mastering this process teaches you how to organize your thoughts, to support your thoughts, to prove your point, and yes, to think analytically. I cannot stress how useful, how important, how powerful those abilities are. Writing is thinking, and being able to write and think well gives you a great advantage in life. I'm going to make the due date for this paragraph next Monday at 8. The day and time I'm assigning the second support paragraph, so that you will have a full week to work on this. And don't put it off to the last minute. This is not an easy one. I'm not that worried about due dates during this period of remote learning, but I do highly recommend that you keep up as best you can. Taking the small steps that we have been taking as we write this paper, it's difficult but manageable. If you wait and try to tackle the whole thing in one swallow, it can seem overwhelming. This is our first large learning task of the writing process, but I will explain in this video exactly what I'm expecting of you. I also recommend that you review the rubric, either on your own or using the video I made reviewing the rubric. So, let's get started. First, let's look at the rubric to see what's going to be required for the paragraph. Each support paragraph will consist of 8 sentences, or 6 depending on how you choose to combine or split the elaboration and evidence sentences. Each sentence is worth up to 20 points, making the whole paragraph worth max 160 points. The first sentence is your topic sentence, which is graded on how well it supports the thesis sentence of the paper and how it provides a clear, single, organizing idea for the paragraph, because that's what a paragraph is. It's a single idea that's stated in the topic sentence. The second sentence is the first elaboration sentence. The elaboration sentence gives an example in your own words that demonstrates the truth of the topic sentence of the paragraph and is graded on how well it does so. The evidence sentence next is the statistic, example, or expert opinion from your research that backs up your elaboration sentence and is graded on how well it does so. Since it is from your research and is somebody else's ideas, you will put it in quotation marks, provide a source entry on the works cited page, and will provide a parenthetical reference after the quoted material pointing to that source entry. I'll show you how to do this in this video. The next sentence is the first analysis sentence. This explains how the elaboration and the evidence sentences together demonstrate the truth of the topic sentence. And again, it's graded based on how well it does that. The next 3 sentences are a second set of elaboration, evidence, and analysis sentences. They function the same way, and they are graded the same way. The final sentence is the last word or last thought sentence, which either transitions to the next support paragraph or sums up the current paragraph if it is the last support paragraph. For English learners, the second support will be the last. For standard students, the third support will be the last. And for honors, the fourth, which is the opposing opinion paragraph, will be the last. So to sum it up, the support paragraphs begin with a topic sentence that shows why the thesis sentence assertion of the paper is correct. Then there are two sets of elaboration evidence analysis sentences that are basically examples showing that the topic sentence is correct, and it ends with a transition or a summary sentence. All right, the example paper that I'm providing as a model is, you may recall, on the benefits of arts education. The three supports I'll be using are outlined in the introduction here. Indeed, such students benefit academically and behaviorally from arts education in public schools, and students with a low socioeconomic status are helped, especially by arts programs. So my supports are academic benefits, behavioral benefits, benefits to students of low socioeconomic status. The first one is academic benefits, so my thesis sentence should be short and sweet and directly support my thesis sentence assertion: arts programs in public schools benefit students in several ways. I will therefore write here, one way that arts programs in public schools benefit students is academically. That's short, sweet, to the point, directly supports the thesis sentence. Now, my next step will be to look through the available research and find examples of how students benefited academically by arts programs in public schools. I want you to do your research using the Gale High School database and limiting your research to academic journals. Don't just Google this. For one thing, when you Google it, you get too many results. And for another thing, most of the results you get will be either questionable or downright unreliable. I want you to learn to do research using the right tools and using dependable sources, as dependable as you can get. Now, there's still stuff that gets through. It doesn't matter what you do. There's still people who are scammers. There's still people who are liars. But this cuts down the likelihood that you're going to run into one of those. If you haven't already, I strongly recommend that you watch the video I made about advanced searches in academic journals. It'll make this process much easier, and I've attached it to the assignment and to the announcement of the assignment on the stream. So now let's go to NC Wise Owl. Remember, I think you guys can get to NC Wise Owl through SchoolNet, or you have some shortcut. I forgot what it was, but you have a shortcut. If not, just do a search for Wise Owl. If you are prompted for a password on any NC Wise Owl resource, it is always WiseOwl19. WISEOWL19. All right, once you're in, go to the High School tab right here. Click on High School. And then in the top right of the next page, you'll see Gale in Context, High School. That's the database we want. Remember, we're doing Boolean searches to make sure that we get only the results that will be most likely to help us. Again, watch the video I made on this if you have any questions. All right, we go into the database. You see, under the search box at the top, there is something that says Advanced Search, and that's what we want. So click it. Now we can do, there we go. We can do Boolean searches using and, or, and not. So I want to search for the academic benefits of arts education programs. So in the top box, I put academic, then benefits, then arts, and I'm out of boxes. So I click add a row, and boom, I have a fourth one. So put education. Well, sorry about that. Incoming call. I put education. All right, one more thing before we do the search, though. You notice I have and as the Boolean operators for everything. I only want returns that have all four of those terms, not in any, not just academic, not just benefits, not just arts, not just education, because it'd be, again, way too many. If all four of those are in a source, though, I want just those. One more thing before we do the search. Come down. It says more options. I want you to click peer review journals. That means that these sources are going to have been looked over by smarter people than I am, and they okayed it. They approved them. So, again, that doesn't mean that some bad ones don't get through, but at least it's not just some nut job on Google putting up a web page and spouting nonsense. Okay, so I've got all my terms. We've got peer-reviewed and full-text documents. Let's click and see what we got. All right, I want academic journals, and the search looks like it returned 5 of them here. That's a manageable number, and they're probably going to be fairly relevant to my needs, at least some of them. I can only see 3 of the 5, though, so I'm going to click on the word academic journals up here, and that makes them all visible. Okay. Just looking through the summaries here, and that's the last 2 lines of each source. It looks like the bottom 3 may not have that much on arts education and academic benefits, but the first 2, looking at the summaries, look like they probably do have something. I'm going to click the first one, called Arts Education Boosts Academic Achievement, Cuts Climb, and Lowers Taxes. That looks like benefit, academic achievement. That's academic benefits. So let's click on that, see if it has something we want. And yeah, wow, there's a whole list of benefits. Looks like at least that first one is academic, and maybe the second one too. Some of this looks like having to do with juvenile delinquents, dropouts, learning difficulties, but the first 2 are good. Okay. I want to find something that lists a specific academic benefit of arts education that you use in my paper. So this first bullet, art in school leads to higher academic achievements, better reading and writing skills, and more well-rounded individuals. Well, that's at least the better reading and writing. That's a good specific one. So I think I want to keep this. So what I do, I go over it with my cursor, highlight it with my cursor. When I do, this pops up asking if I want to highlight it or make some notes, or again, I can click define if there's some words in here I don't understand and I'm not sure if I can use it or not. But I can use this one, so I'm just going to click highlight and then click a color. You know what? I'm gonna keep this next one too. So highlight it, click highlight, pick a color. I'm boring, so I'll pick yellow. The students who take art classes, irrespective of their socioeconomic background, perform better in reading and math tests than those who do not. So this one is reading and writing. This is STEM, so that's pretty good. I think I can make that work. Okay. I'm not gonna export these yet, though, because I want to go into that other promising source and see if I can get some material from that. I don't want to get all of my information from one source. One source, I don't care where you get it from, could be bogus. So you want to get from several. If you get all your eggs from one basket and that basket is full of rotten eggs, then your paper is going to suck. If you get your information from several sources and they do agree, well, you've got some reason to believe that there's a consensus that this is true. That's what you're trying to prove, that whatever it is true. So let's back up And let's go into that second entry called Enhancing Student Learning Through Arts Integration, Implications for the Profession. So implications for the profession, that sounds like it would be, I hope, benefits, either benefits or disadvantages, we'll see. Okay. If you look this over, introduction, there's a lot of names, a lot of parenthetical references here. Cattrall, Eisner, Gardner, Goldsmith. This is clearly a study. And if you remember from the video, most of the material in these studies is not of much use to us. We need to scroll down to the summary or conclusion, which is usually late in the paper, and see if there's anything that we can use. Yeah, you see most of these have parenthetical references. They're getting stuff from other studies and detailing what other studies have said. We don't want to deal with that. As I say, there is a way to quote somebody who's quoted in somebody else's paper, but it gets complicated, and we don't need to do that. We just need to go down and see what the author of this study concludes. Yada, yada. Yeah, it looks like it's just collecting a bunch of stuff from other studies. Wow, this is a long one. Okay. Oh, wait, okay. Looks like the bullet list. What is this? Okay, implications for the profession. That looks, implications for the educational profession are numerous. Some of the most salient and research-based considerations distilled from this research review are provided below. So this is a research review, like I was thinking. Findings of researchers in the field point to the following benefits of arts programs. Well, boom, that's what we need. Okay. You can, by the way, if you find a really good source and they're quoting some other sources, you can go down to the references at the bottom, just like on your paper. There's a works cited page. There's the references on the bottom of these studies, and you can find the information on their source and do a search in the database to find that source. And a lot of times you can piggyback. Keep going. We're not going to do that today. But when you're in college, that's another way. If you're having trouble finding good sources, you can just follow the trail of breadcrumbs. Okay. Okay. There's a number here I can use. Since I already have one about communication skills, I want something different for a second one. And here's a good, enhances higher order thinking and learning. That's perfect. Okay, so I'll highlight that, click the highlight button, pick a color. Okay, that means I now have 3 good quotes from 2 different sources, each of them academic study. All 3 are expert opinions, not examples and not statistics, but the sources are dependable, so we can have some degree of confidence in their expert status. And again, if you just Google for research and then go to a web page, you don't know or have any proof of expertise of its authors. You may get good information, you may not. Again, there's a lot of crackpots out there just posting stuff up. Anybody can post anything. So if you do searches in the database and get peer-reviewed sources, you're less likely to get a bad one. All right, now let's click up in the top right corner. You see where it says highlights and notes. Click on that. And then it says view all highlights and notes. And that's for all of the sources that you've been to today. Click on that. It brings up a very useful page that has all 3 quotes on it, you see. And at the bottom, it has the MLA formatted, hanging indent source entries for all the quotes, for the 2 quotes from the one and the 1 quote from the other. And with this, you can just copy and paste the quotes, copy and paste the source entries, does a lot of the work for you. So it makes it a lot easier. As I say, this is a much better way to do research. It's more dependable. It's really easier. You don't have to use EasyBib or worry about formatting or typing out your quotes or copying them to another paper somewhere. It collects everything you need on one place. So We want to save this. So again, go to the top right. You see there's a button that says Send To. Click it. Say Send to Google Drive. All right, this will send it to the Gale folder in your own Google Drive. So easy. You don't have to cut and paste. You don't have to move. Just say send it to my drive. Okay, now if we go over to, oops. Okay, here's my drive. And there's the Gale in Context High School folder. It's orange, so I can find it easy. If I go in there, looky here, there it is. So we can now copy and paste our quotes and our source entries from this one document. But in order to be able to do that, you need to open it. So go up above it, it says Open With, click that, open it with Google Docs. Once it's a Google Doc, you can copy and paste from it. And there it is. All right, so let's go back to our paper. I'll show you how to finish this paragraph. All right, I have at least 2 quotes that I want to use to show the academic benefits of arts education. So I would therefore write the first elaboration sentence in my own words, because again, that's you want to state it in your own words, and your research is just to show, see, it's not just me. I've got some backing. I've got an expert, or I got statistics, or I got an example that shows that what I'm saying is correct. Now we got the quotes first, so you know, chicken and egg. But the important thing for these papers is to state it in your own words and then to support it with your research. So all of our quotes are good. They're each from an academic study. They're all expert opinions. I want, let's say, okay, how about this? I would say, for example, one study showed that schools with arts programs also showed improvements in, among other things, students' communication skills. Boom. All right, because my quote does mention reading and writing, but it mentions some other stuff too, but we're not so interested in the other stuff. We're looking at academic benefits, but there was an academic benefit in there, so I say among other things just to accommodate the other. I could also take the other stuff out and put ellipses, dots in to show that they're missing and because they're not important, but we're going to keep them in. I'm just going to make a nod to, yeah, there's some other stuff too. This supports the topic sentence that there are academic benefits of arts education by listing one of the benefits, improved communication skills. And for this paragraph, we will keep the elaboration and evidence sentences separate. On another one, I'll show you how to join them together. You can do either way, but we're going to keep them apart for now, just to show you, to keep them separate in your mind. When you join them, they still both need to be important pieces, but we're going to emphasize that by keeping them separate. So now, my first evidence sentence will be the first quote from the first source. And I just can't plop down a quote from my research in the paper without introducing it. You can't have a quote from your research as a standalone sentence. You have to put a few words in front of it to introduce it. So I can start with, in a list of benefits, the study includes, and I'll put a colon here to say, all right, the next part is my quote. I put a space and then an open quote. Now I'll go back to my drive and find that quote. Art in school leads to higher academic achievements, better, wait, I can't. Okay, there it is. There's the Google Doc version. Art in school leads to higher academic achievements, yada, yada, yada. So highlight that, right-click copy, take it back to my paper, put it right next to the quotation, open quotes. Don't space. Put them right next to the open quotes. Right-click. Don't just do paste. Do paste without formatting. That way it keeps the same font, size, color, style, everything. I don't need this period. So get rid of the period at the end of the sentence. Instead, type a close quote, then space, then open a parentheses and close a parentheses, then your period. The period goes all the way at the end after the parentheses. I'll show you in just a second what to put in the parentheses. But put open and close and period. Now we're set up for that. Okay, now go back to your highlights page in the Gale folder and go down to which of the sources this came from. And it's kind of goobered up right now, but it remembers the hanging indent. So highlight it, right click, copy, take it back to the paper, go down to, oops, already have it. Okay, go down to your works cited page. That starts with A for arts, so it'll go before Smith. So we put it right at the beginning. If it went after, you'd go down and enter it below that. If it started with, if Thomas was the last name, you put them in alphabetical order. A goes before S. So arts goes before Smith. So put it right at the beginning here. Again, right click, paste without formatting. Boom. Oops. Okay. There we go. It is formatted hanging indent. All right, so I got my source entry. Now, what goes in the parentheses is whatever is on the left margin on your source entry. If there's a name, it's going to be the last name. You see, on this one, it'd be Smith. On this one, it would be, we don't have an author, so we just put the first few words of the title. So I copy the first few words of the title, Art Education Boosts. Right-click, copy, take it up to the top, click inside the parentheses, right-click, paste without formatting, boom. All right, now that's a title, so I'll also want it inside quotes, inside the parentheses, boom. There we go. Okay. All right, so we got our first elaboration in our own words. We got our first evidence, which is from our research, in quotes, introduced by our words, but in quotes, somebody else's words. We close the quote without a period, we space, open parentheses, open quotes, first few words of the title that is down on the works cited page, close quote, close parentheses, then period. That's how you do that. That's the only way to do it. All right, finally, for the analysis sentence. I want to make the connection between the example I provided in my elaboration and evidence sentences and the topic sentence that they're supposed to support. If I think about why better reading and writing skills are an academic benefit, I think of two things. One, they're useful real-world skills that schools need to teach. And two, they're part of how students, teachers, and schools are evaluated. So my analysis sentence will be, these communication skills are beneficial, both as important real-world skills and as a part of how students, teachers, and schools are evaluated. Boom. So I just showed how my elaboration in my words, evidence from my research, support the topic sentence, which in turn supports the thesis sentence. I now have one complete set of elaboration, evidence, analysis sentences finished, and they strongly support the topic sentence. But because this video is already long enough, I will not lead you all to the second set of elaboration, evidence, analysis sentences. I will have them on the example paper for you to look at if you need more models. But they're going to be done the same way as the first set, and we are just going to use another one of the quotes on our highlights page as evidence, but everything else do the same way. If you think it would be helpful to see me go through the second set, though, send me an email and I'll make a short video just going through this process, elaboration, evidence, analysis again. So you have a different example. We'll do another one next week, but if you need one in the meantime, let me know and I'll make one. If enough people are interested, that is, I'll post a second video. If you just need to ask a question, hit me up on Hangouts and I'll do an individual writing conference and go through it with you. All right, before I end the video, though, let me say something about the last word sentence. Since the next support paragraph will be about behavioral benefits, I want to wrap up the current support paragraph and give a preview of what is coming next. I could do both things by writing, and keep in mind there's going to be another set of elaboration, evidence, analysis sentences right there. But I'll put those in later. I'm going to jump on ahead to the last word video. Okay, how about arts programs do more than help students academically, though. See a nod back, summing up the paragraph I just finished. They also improve student conduct in the classroom so that learning can take place. That hands off the action to that next support paragraph, which is going to be behavior. Okay, so good luck. I know that this is probably the most difficult thing that many of you have ever written. And for some of you, it may be the most difficult thing you ever will write. It is worth learning, though, how to organize your thoughts and to write them so that others can understand you and, we hope, agree with you. For that reason, I encourage you to do this difficult thing. Watch this video. I spent all day long making every attempt to go through the whole process, baby step by baby step, to model what you need to do. So watch it, and watch it closely. If you need to rewatch it, rewatch it. It's a video. You can watch it as many times as you need to. But if you still have questions after you do, please do contact me on Hangouts. I'll be happy to hold an individual writing conference with you and answer your individual questions. All right, you have a week to finish this, so do your best. Unless there's great call for it, which I would be rather surprised. Unless there's call for it, I won't have another video this week. So until then, have fun, stay safe, and come back to me on Monday, happy and healthy.